So Panasonic just came out with the S9, a compact camera that has all the terrible features of a trash camera. However, I kind of want it. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Panasonic S9 and its drawbacks and its positive aspects. So let's go with why it's so terrible. It has a time limit. It has many time limits, and it has time limits in 1080p, which is absolutely absurd, 20 minutes, and in 4K it has 15 minutes. In 6K it has 10-minute time limits. I don't really understand why Panasonic is this conservative with their camera, even though it's for content creators that have short video clips. This is primarily a video camera because it has a continuous power slot on the bottom. So it's made for video, right? It doesn't have a mechanical shutter. That's a big flaw with the item. There's no way of avoiding the rolling shutter because it doesn't have a mechanical shutter. You're going to take the full brunt of the rolling shutter in effect when you're taking photos. So no mechanical shutter with poor rolling shutter. It's not a good combination. I mean, there are other cameras that can do away with the mechanical shutter to save costs on this camera, but the combination is not good for Panasonic. Another thing it doesn't have is a hot shoe. It has a cold shoe. There are no electronic points in this. The cold shoe is dead. It means that there is no flash. There is no XLR adapter. There is no future. And it's interesting that Panasonic just wants to leave money on the table, because if it was a hot shoe, maybe they can sell a flash. Maybe they can sell their XLR adapter that they sell right now. Maybe they can develop future hot shoe mics, microphones, wireless microphones. No, they chose to leave money on the table, and that is just appalling. Panasonic, do you want to stay in business or what? Bruh. Okay, moving on. There also is no headphone jack. Some people need it. A lot of these newer microphones, they have a headphone jack in the microphone itself, so it's not a total deal breaker. It's just kind of annoying. Another item on why it's terrible is the camera is absent of ergonomics. There is nothing to hold on to, kind of like malnourished Asians. It caters to people with sticky fingers, maybe like Spider-Man. I mean, flat is not terrible. I mean, Leica is flat and it's kind of cool. It's just that, you know, if it were flat, it'd be nice if there was a sticky grip or rubber on the front side of it. That's just my opinion. The dials, there's one along the top, and the D-pad, which is prone to mistakes like getting married. Bruh. That thing just doesn't work that well in the rear, and it's just not that great to have a D-pad as your primary point of control, because just one scroll wheel in the front is not cutting it, but I guess that's what they're going to do if they're trying to cut costs. And of course, there is no EVF. There is a 26mm f8 fixed aperture. There's no aperture blades, so you can forget about Sunstars, and it's manual focus. It is kind of a dumb lens, to be honest, but yeah, I guess some people could like it because it's f8, so it does have deep focus, but it's still full frame. And all right, now we're gonna go over what Panasonic gets right. Video quality is going to be phenomenal. It's a full frame Panasonic. It has open gate 6K. So that means that this is probably the smallest camera you could get for anamorphic users, which is a shame because it could only do 10 minutes of recording. It has a big battery. These little cameras, they don't always have large batteries. This Panasonic, it's not only small and flat, it has a big battery to match it. So it's ideal for travel. The ecosystem, Panasonic's ecosystem, they offer Sigma lenses, and their ecosystem isn't shabby. They have unique lenses. Sigma has a plethora of lenses, and so you're in good hands. The codecs, Panasonic has always had great codecs, including 4K 30 frames per second, 10-bit HEVC, which is missing in Sony after 4 years or so. There is this new MP4 Lite, which can do 6K open gate at 50 megabits per second. So that means that you can transfer it to your phone. And there is that new faster connection, which helps you transfer to your phone quickly through 5 gigahertz speed. The hybrid zoom, that looks to be amazing. It's where your wide end is unzoomed. However, when you start physically zooming the lens, it'll add a multiplier effect that is gradual, like a ramping style zoom that is going to increase a lot, especially if you're at 1080p. If you're at 4K, it's less, but with 1080p, you're going to have a zoom range from, with the kit lens of 20 to 60, from 20 millimeters all the way to 180 plus millimeters. And you can see that demonstrated with Camera Labs, Gordon Lang. He does a really good. That is kind of amazing. So if you have one do-it-all type of kit and you're okay with the low light, and by the way, it has dual gain system at 640 and 4000. So you might be okay with that low light ability. And if you're using that, now you have a really kind of compact system that can go from borderline ultra wide to legit telephoto of 180 millimeters, and just all in the palm of your hand. It is a truly nice point and shoot type of system. The LUTs on photos, LUTs on videos, it's a way to apply on camera and on app, and it just simplifies thinking about how you're going to edit. So this camera is all about fast output. There's no editing involved, and that's a good thing, because if you're traveling, you're on the go, or you just want stuff done fast. I mean, social media is all about the quickness and the timing, right? So people, they want turnaround times to be shortened. They want to have immediate access to JPEGs or video. Because when you're trying to apply a LUT on a phone, it can be difficult to apply it to an image, can be difficult to apply it to video. And even on editors, there's not that many editors, are there, that can apply LUTs directly to images. But now you can do it in camera. You could do it on the app, the Lab app. And now you're just taking away the steps of contention for some users, because maybe you don't want to edit your footage or your video to look a certain way. You want it to simply produce nice stuff right off the bat and get it moving. Wow, this camera is kind of good in that way. It's kind of amazing in that way. Okay, so another nice feature is the IBIS, which is darn good. And the hybrid shooter, he shows that it no longer has corner warping, and that is something that I've faced with previous Panasonic cameras, and the warping made ultra wide movements not usable. And I'd rather have a sacrifice in stabilization on the wide end for no warping. And that's what Panasonic's done here. And on top of that, Panasonic always had great longer focal length stabilization, and that hasn't changed. It's still going to be great in that aspect. And another great aspect of this camera is that it has phase detect autofocus. So it's Panasonic's third camera with phase detect autofocus. They're starting to mature this thing, and the focus system of the Panasonic has always been, well, the display on what is in focus has always been great. And that's what I like about them. Now combined with phase detect, it could be a formidable system. It probably is already. And that's why I kind of want one. Another great thing about this camera is that it comes in different colors: green, blue, red, black. Is that black? Either way, it's gimmicky and I'm here for it. So there are other alternatives in the Sony ecosystem. You've had the ZV-E1, $2,200, A7C, C2, CR. And those are a bit more mature at this point, and you can find them for a bit less than retail because the used market is filled with them. You have the Canon R8, no IBIS, and it doesn't have the big battery. But its main competitor is probably to people on the L-mount system. So there is the FPL. It has a tiny battery, but it doesn't overheat, and you can record in really high bit rates, and the quality is just on another level. But that camera doesn't have IBIS either. It's even smaller and lighter, but it surely has some downsides. But its main competitors can be Panasonic themselves. The S5 II is bigger, it's more expensive, but is it? These Panasonic cameras, they kind of have horrible resales and they have frequent sales. So you could pick up an S5 II on the used market for dirt cheap. I'm talking about like $1,100 or $1,200. And that is just insane. I mean, if you think about it, that much camera for that little of a price will get you into the system. Granted, the S5 II is going to be much larger, but with the size comes with a lot of stuff. It comes with overheating protection. The camera has active cooling. The camera has unlimited record times. So it is going to be some trade-offs, and the trade-offs might be worth it. So who is this for? And it's technically for content creators. However, the content creators on IG, content creators on TikTok, more of the trash content creators. Bruh. But can you make it work for YouTube? Yeah, you can make it work. Do you want to make it work for YouTube? You might want to make it work. These stupid talking head videos that I'm doing right now, it's going to run into the time limit, and it is what it is. These talking head videos, I'm going to make mistakes. Not as many as before and not as badly as before, but still, I am human, not AI generated. So there are going to be some mistakes. If you're trying to do long sessions, you're going to need HDMI output, which is a shame because it's the smaller HDMI, but that will effectively let you override the overheating or time limits. And so if you're doing it, recording long sessions, you can just output HDMI to an external recorder and get around that limit that they have on there. Panasonic, please get that removed. This camera is going to be for the people that don't care too much about technicals. Sure, rolling shutter is atrocious on this camera, but if you're not too concerned about technicals, you just want something quick, easy, high quality, Panasonic is aiming to claw back smartphone users to start using high quality machines. And is it too little, too late? I don't think so. The price is $14.99. It's only a little bit more than, say, something like the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Granted, it can't make any calls or anything, but still, that camera has a much bigger sensor. It can do a lot better in low light, and you can use interchangeable lenses. You don't have to use the 20-60. You can use the 18 prime. You could use the 35 prime. You can use the 100 prime. Those are all nice looking lenses, and they'll give much more distinct looks than a smartphone. And on top of that, the bigger sensor is going to work much better in low light. There's no way around that. Small sensor can only do so much, even with its AI technology, which is basically just averaging frames. It's not going to be as well as a large sensor camera. So am I going to get one anytime soon? And the answer is probably not. I find that the Sony system is good. It's going to get me through the summer. However, after the summer, there's a chance that a lot of people who got gas right now, who are going to get the Panasonic S9 for all of the wrong reasons, they are going to resell their cameras, and I will be there after they take the financial hit, and I'll take it off their hands. And seeing how Panasonic S5 II, S5 IIX has taken such a large hit, I can't in good faith buy it at full retail. It's just too much of a hit. I do want to have access to anamorphic shooting. I do want access to the bit rates that Sony is refusing to give us users through firmware updates or whatnot. And I am a former Panasonic user. I have some Panasonic lenses for Micro Four Thirds, which won't work on this camera. However, there are some lenses that I do want to try on the L-mount system. There's a good chance I will get this camera in the future. The use cases are really small for this camera. I'm not going to deny it. It is what it is. Am I still going to get it? Probably. Anyhow, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Take care.